my name is Charlie Miller, and today I'm going to be discussing the Bumble ad that was presented on a billboard in Los Angeles that states, "You know full well a vow of celibacy is not the answer." My guiding question for the discussion later on is, how can we maintain respect and fairness for our audiences while staying true to a lighthearted brand personality? This is our table of contents. The brand Bumble was originally presented as an innovative service that allowed women the autonomy to choose when men on the app saw them. The premise was that the women would reach out first, and then the men would be allowed to respond. They seem to acknowledge the push and pull of modern relationships, how difficult it is to be a woman in any society, but especially today's society, where we're constantly surveilled and watched, whether we like it or not. And the choice that we have to put ourselves on the internet is a really important one that can have a lot of consequences if we're not safe. Bumble offered a relatively safe alternative to modern dating sites in that they focused on the comfort of the women in the relationship and allowed them to make the first move. In May of 2024, a Bumble ad was found on a billboard in Los Angeles, and the ad read, "You know full well a vow of celibacy is not the answer." This is difficult because it kind of targets and mocks a specific group of people who are more concerned with celibacy and disallows them from pursuing relationships that are not based on sex. For some, a vow of celibacy is the answer. The audience took great offense to this billboard because it seems to put a great deal of pressure and blame on the women in the relationship, when in reality they should be promoting and advertising healthy relationships. According to the FTC, this is an example of unfair targeting and representation. The billboard pretends to address a common problem. Being single is hard, and we all desire companionship. The brand and the product are positioned as the remedy. However, reality is misrepresented. In all actuality, there are plenty of different types of relationships, many of which that do not include sex at all. This is an example of unfair targeting because it is careless, and plenty of audiences that this could be harmful to are now exposed to the message. Next, I'm going to discuss some ethical principles put into place by the Institute of Advertising Ethics. First of all, I want to talk about the second principle. This is a relatively basic principle that calls advertisers and communicators to practice the highest personal ethics in the dissemination of commercial information. While not abhorrently so, the billboard was not ethical at all and caused harm to many groups of people and caused a lot of discourse online about the brand itself. Numerous consumers deleted their account, and there were mass waves of people rating the app 1 star on the App Store. With more pertinence, Principle 5 states that advertisers should treat all consumers and audience members fairly. This message treats audience members and consumers unfairly because it positions an entire way of thinking as wrong or not the right choice, even though this could be perfectly normal for many. Next, I'd like to discuss where the brand's loyalties lie and for whom they should control their messaging. Primarily, the messaging affects the audience members, the consumers. When a harmful message is released by a brand, this can reduce brand trust and could potentially cause mild psychological harm. An online space where consumers may have felt comfortable and safe at one point may become somewhere that they don't want to be anymore, something that they don't want to invest in. Also, this affects the associates and the company members at Bumble. This can be a bad look for a brand and can cause distress to associates or others not involved in this advertising. The ways that Bumble should address this misstep is they should acknowledge the harm they may have caused to the general public, to their consumers. They need to discuss how the message may have affected audience members and make sure that the company and the associates are on the same page in order to prevent this in the future. Conversations about this misstep should be encouraged and initiated by company higher-ups, advertising professionals. This should not be brushed under the rug. To ensure that we avoid future harm, we should best understand what we've done. Finally, of course, I believe that a public apology should be issued. This would include more acknowledgement of the pain and harm we could have caused our audience. We can briefly detail our intentions with the message, but focus more on making audience members comfortable once more. Next, I'd like to offer some discussion questions to open up the floor to my audience. I want to ask how we can understand what motivates and connects to our target demographic. What messages will they find funny, and what messages may be a step too far? The next question is, how should we be sympathetic and conscious of the dialogues and conversations we belong or don't belong in? Some are aware that this message includes the use of AAVE, African American Vernacular English. This can be seen as exploitative or invasive in communities where the majority of our company does not belong. And finally, I'd like to reiterate our guiding question. How can we ensure respect and fairness for our audience members while maintaining a lighthearted brand personality? We don't want to compromise our already established brand image. However, we want to create a safe space for all individuals to engage with our product. Thank you so much for your time.